Hello, I'm Julia Dreblow, the founder of the sriservices.co.uk website, and this presentation is a brief introduction to the new Fund EcoMarket tool, which is a database tool which helps financial advisors to offer sustainable and responsible investment options to their clients more easily and more often. It's born of approaching 15 years experience in the SRI market, working with financial advisors over that time. I hope you find it useful, and should you have any questions, please don't hesitate to get in contact. I look forward to hearing from you, and I hope you enjoy the presentation. Thank you. So first of all, the agenda. The presentation starts by introducing the SRI market and talking about the Fund EcoMarket tool and what it does. It then looks at how the tool can be of use to financial advisors and how it may fit with the advice process when talking about sustainable and responsible investment with your clients. And then the last few slides are really just a little bit of more background information for you on sriservices.co.uk and the information that's available to advisors. To introduce this presentation, today what I really want to explain to you is what the tool is, its purpose, and how it's going to be helpful to you, financial advisors. This presentation introduces the tool, which is intended purely for use by financial advisors. It does two things. It helps you to understand clients' SRI aims, so that is what clients are looking for from an SRI fund if they're interested in the area at all, and then to help you match those interests to the fund options that are currently available. Its purpose is to make this process easy, as I'm fully aware this has been quite time consuming in the past and fairly complicated, and this has been somewhat off-putting for a number of financial advisors historically, hence the development of this tool. This in turn will help you to make more of the growing levels of public interest in green and ethical issues, as no one can fail to have noticed that people are more interested in these areas, and even clients who may not have been interested in the past may now be interested in investigating this area. To give you an idea of the market size for SRI, first of all, what a lot of this tool is about is explaining the different aspects of the market, and there are a number of different aspects. But firstly, looking at the UK screened ethical investment market, which is what most IFAs will be familiar with. The fund research organisation IRIS estimated in 2011 that total assets under management were around £11 billion. That's up from £4 billion only 10 years ago. Yet these figures are dwarfed by the overall worldwide investments, primarily in institutional assets, estimated by Eurosif 2 years ago as being in the region of £5 trillion across Europe. And over the last 5 years we've seen people signing up, institutional investors signing up to the United Nations Principles of Responsible Investment initiative. There are now over 1,000 signatories to that, with assets totaling $30 trillion. What this really shows is that the institutional market has moved ahead significantly over the last few years, whereas growth in the retail market has been, although gradual and continual, rather slower. So what is the Fund EcoMarket? Well, the Fund EcoMarket tool is a database tool for financial advisors only. We're not authorised to deal with clients, and I have no interest in so doing for a range of reasons. So this is a tool for financial advisors to use to help with their advice processes. In 3 words, simple, it's comprehensive, and it's unique. It's simple in that it helps you to identify what your client's SRI aims are, with the help of the Style Finder Fact Find questionnaire which sits within the tool, which is also available separately as a client microsite, and then to match those needs to the fund options that are available in today's market. It's comprehensive in that it's a database of all retail onshore regulated green, ethical and SRI funds, and it introduces all the major SRI strategies which fall within the various SRI styles. Now, this is important because it's not only a fund tool which looks at one product area, it covers life, pension, unit trust, OIC and investment trust fund options. And it's unique because it complements your existing tools. It's really a gap filling tool, if you like. It doesn't reproduce existing services that may use. It's very simple and straightforward. It simply aims to analyse SRI aims and match clients' needs to the funds that are available. So what's on the Fund EcoMarket database? First of all, it's important to say that it does cover all retail SRI funds, all regulated listed funds that are available via tools such as Capita Synaptics, which is where we get most of our data from, as well as a number of engagement funds for those fund managers who responded to the survey I carried out of this market last year. They're all listed. That means we have around 400 entries listed by distributor, so that it's easy for financial advisors to find the funds when talking with clients. All major retail product areas are covered, as I've already said, and funds are split into high-level investment sectors, including UK equity, global equities, mixed and bonds and other such like classifications. Funds are split into 7 SRI groups, which I have called styles. There's also a section which I'm in the process of developing called specialist, but we'll come on to that one another time. The 7 major styles of sustainable and responsible investment which exist really fall into 3 categories. These are funds and options which are really considering people's personal values, the issues that are important to people as individuals, not selected on the basis of any financial criteria, but really largely selected on the basis of how people feel about different issues. The first group of funds I've come up with in this area are traditional ethical funds. That's the term I've given them. These are funds which look at negative ethical criteria. They have clear, strong, strict avoidance criteria, which means that certain companies are avoided on ethical grounds. They may take into account the use of international norms or standards, but essentially, even though there may be a range of other strategies employed by the fund managers, it is the core negative criteria which come through in the fund strategy and the investment selection process. The next group then I have called balanced ethical funds. These funds are screened funds, like traditional ethical funds, but they do more of a balancing act. They consider the positive and the negative aspects of companies, and they look at a range of ethical, social and environmental issues, as do many traditional ethical funds. But some companies may get in because, although perhaps they may be considered by some to be imperfect, they're the best companies in their sector. So these are more balanced funds which are looking at having fewer negative exclusions than traditional ethical funds, and make more pragmatic decisions, weighing up the pros and cons of different investee companies. The third group then in this category is faith-based funds. Now this is a very small group. There are only a few companies in this style. Faith-based funds invest in line with specific sets of religious values. The most common group here, of course, being Islamic funds. The second group of ethical styles, or SRI styles, which I have identified and are used through the Fund EcoMarket tool, are the funds which really focus on specific themes more than anything else. Now these funds may or may not have ethical screening criteria also. Some will, some will not. The first group of these funds are sustainability themed funds. These funds put sustainability at the heart of their decision-making processes when considering where to invest. They typically favour companies which are well placed to benefit from regulatory and legislative change which is taking place, and pick those companies which they think will encourage and support the shift to more sustainable lifestyles. The second group is in many ways similar, but the focus is more on environmental issues, so they may perhaps put less emphasis on social issues. Some may consider ethical issues also, some may not, but these are funds for whom the environment is a core part of their selection process, So how well companies take into account environmental and green issues will influence a fund manager's decision to invest or not to invest in a particular company. Again, these are likely to be companies that are going to benefit from societal changes that we're seeing today. They may be specialist funds focusing on a single issue or resource, so it may be focusing on an area like climate change, or perhaps an area such as forestry. The third group then are clean technology funds. Now these funds are highly unlikely to have anything that resembles ethical criteria. They focus purely on companies that are offering environmental solutions and really focusing on the transition to a greener economy. Very often they're pure play companies which are well placed to lead change. These companies may be smaller, they may be higher risk, but they can be very, very exciting companies. These funds may very often be seen as, if you like, the icing on the cake for a portfolio for an average investor, although it may well be that ordinarily it's more likely to be higher net worth individuals that will support funds of this kind. The last major category in my style classification are responsible engagement funds. Now this is a huge area that people tend to know very little about. Responsible engagement options are regular funds, they're mainstream funds that you may very well know extremely well and use regularly, and not necessarily even know that they have a strategy that overlays the fund management processes, which is all about employing specialist experts within the fund management company to encourage positive change through shareholder dialogue and engagement strategies, often focusing on environmental, social and governance issues. These funds do not normally have any direct impact on investment strategies. Instead, they help inform the investment decision-making process. And you have a section at the bottom of your screen in front of you now, which is giving you the option to link directly into the SRI Styles directory, which is a full-page explanation of each of the styles, which I've just given you a whistle-stop tour of. This next slide then introduces how these sections all fit together, how these styles all fit together. Different people have different motivations, different fund managers have different strategies. There's no single right or wrong, there's no correct ethical fund or correct responsible investment fund. Different people are looking for different things, but broadly speaking, people are looking at balancing their ethical views with their financial influences or business influences that they're looking to combine. And this slide looks to give you a broad summary of where the different SRI styles as identified by Fund EcoMarket sit along the scale of business versus ethical influences. So how does the Fund EcoMarket work? After logging into the tool, you first of all need to put in your name and your client's name. This is entirely for your reference. We do not keep this information. It's purely so you have a record of who responded to the questions that are put to them in the questionnaire. The next thing you do is to select which styles the client's interested in. Now, you may know this information, or your client may know this information off the top of their head, in which case just go ahead and select which of the boxes relate to your client's needs. If they do not, however, there's a drop-down box which offers the client fact-find questionnaire, from which a client can select those phrases which suit or match their personal views and aims, and it will then generate a list for them as to which styles suit their needs. The next step then is to select which investment areas are of interest. Now, this is purely for the client to state which areas may be of interest, so feel free to put in as many options as you like. You've got a choice of a number of options, including UK equity, global equities, mixed bonds, etc. And the final thing to do then is just to say which products or fund areas are of interest to your client. Again, you've got the choice of life, pension, unit trust OIC or investment trust options. And from that, you can go ahead and ask the tool to search for a long list of funds which may be appropriate for you to consider in future. So once you've got your long list of funds, the next thing you do is to decide which of those funds may actually make sense for your client. So you go ahead and you tick those options which your clients could potentially be interested in. From that you have a shorter list of funds, and it is that list that you can either save or print. And this generates a report, the first page of which is showing on your screen now. It tells you what your client's name is, it tells you who you are, so you know who gave the advice, for your records, and it tells you which SRI styles the client has selected. It will show up to 3 styles, and it will show which sector or type of investment fund the client's interested in, and then which product areas. So all of those will show on the report. The next page then goes on to simply list the funds that your client has chosen. So why should financial advisors use the Fund EcoMarket tool? Well, first of all, it fits firmly within the Treating Customers Fairly initiative and the aims to increase professionalism in our industry. For people who've got interest in green and ethical issues, or can see that there are opportunities for investing in companies that are more responsibly managed and would like to integrate that into their investment decisions, clearly it makes no sense for this area not to be covered by a financial advisor. And this is very much the point made in the FSA's document FG 1215, which I actually have got a fairly lengthy analysis of on my blog if you're interested in looking at that via my main website sriservices.co.uk. The views of clients should be considered on an individual basis according to this document and the many documents before. So areas such as this should not be overlooked according to the FSA. And this, of course, is endorsed by the recent advisor ISO 22222, which requires advisors always to ask an SRI fact-find question. However, it's not prescriptive about what steps an advisor should take when advising on this area. So the Fund EcoMarket tool is very much a cradle-to-grave solution for fitting in SRI within your advice processes in a way that fits within what you do already, rather than replacing what you do already. So the tool helps advisors to offer SRI more easily by matching clients' views to SRI options, and it highlights the different SRI strategies to help reduce confusion, because frankly different clients have such differing views on different areas. For a client who's worried about, for instance, some traditional ethical issues like avoiding arms companies or tobacco, there's no point offering an environmental or a sustainably focused fund. They will not be interested. So understanding those differences rather than clumping them all together is an extremely useful facility. And of course, the provision of printable documents from the tool means that you can put this information into your files and keep them for your audit trails. You can save it as a PDF, you can print it out, whichever suits you. Then of course, for those advisors who are looking to develop short lists of portfolios, these facilities within our tool offers you the option to integrate environmental, social and governance issues within the advice process. As I say, this is best practice, it does fit within FSA guidelines, and it makes sense to move in to this area which is clearly growing in interest as more people are concerned about areas of this kind, and as investment opportunities are growing day by day. This tool can also help you inform any research areas that you have about this market, to understand the different asset styles, the different investment areas that are available, and the different options that are available to different clients. And again, I would recommend making sure you understand clients' differing views rather than looking to group everyone together as being ethical or not ethical. That's simply not good enough in today's market. So a suggested SRI advice process. Now this is just an idea, but it's one that's been developed over a number of years, and we hope you'll find it useful and can pull pieces of this into your advice processes. So in order to get into sustainable and responsible investment, or ethical investment as it used to be often called, first of all you need to ask an initial fact-find question, asking people whether or not they're interested in social, ethical, environmental issues as part of their investment decision-making process. A client will then say yes or no. For those clients who are interested, you then move into using a tool such as this. You need to first of all identify a client's SRI aims. What are they looking for? What are they interested in? What kind of approach means something to them? And this all comes through in the Style Finder Fact Find questionnaire, which exists within the Fund EcoMarket tool and also as a separate questionnaire on our Style Finder client microsite, which is designed purely for financial advisors to send to clients. You've then got to combine this SRI information with your regular fact find information, and again this is within the Fund EcoMarket tool. It just points you in the right direction, helping you to match up SRI styles with the different investment fields that exist and the different product areas. From then it's really over to you to start looking, as you would with any other fund, at which the preferred options of a client might be. So you've got your list from your Fund EcoMarket tool, and you can then start to carry out your due diligence work on those funds that have come up on your shortlist and work towards deciding which funds you would recommend as being most likely to be appropriate to your client and most of interest both for their financial and their values-based or sustainable and responsible investment related aims. So this really draws our presentation to a conclusion. The last section really is just a little bit of information and some links for you for further information. Who is SRI Services? Well, SRI Services is a purely online tool and website facility for financial advisors who are looking to move into the sustainable and responsible investment market and considering green and ethical options for their clients. We work solely in the retail advisor market. We do not deal directly with clients. We are not authorised to give advice. The aim of our tools is purely to help financial advisors to meet the growing demands of people who would like to know more about this area but frankly have not had access to this information in the past. So the main links then that we offer, the main information and sites we offer are sriservices.co.uk, from which all of our other information is available. This carries a few main areas that you may wish to look at. One is about SRI, which is generic information on the SRI market for those wishing perhaps to read up on the subject and have some generic training type materials. The next section is about advising on SRI, which really helps you understand how to fit information into the advice process. And this includes information such as the guide we've written recently with Rayner Spencer Mills, as pictured on your screen now. Then there's the Fund EcoMarket tool, also available from SRI Services but also available directly. This is the database tool we've been talking about. And then the client microsite, which is purely the client fact find section of the Fund EcoMarket tool with a little support information which just helps your clients to get an idea of which styles of SRI are most likely to suit their needs, so that when they come and talk to you, they're well placed to start a conversation about which kind of investments suit them, rather than considering ethical issues such as what are their personal interests and which are the main aspects that they're interested in as investment opportunities. All this information is also now available via Panacea Advisor on their new ethical zone, which was launched in October 2012 to coincide with National Ethical Investment Week 2012. If you have any queries, please do contact me, julia@sriservices.co.uk, or my mobile phone number above, or again, of course, all my information, including LinkedIn address, Twitter links, etc., are all available via the SRI Services website. So for a little further information, if you're interested, here's a brief resume of my background. I've been committed to working in this area for approaching 20 years. I've worked as the SRI Marketing Manager at Friends Providence, served on the board of UCSIF for 7 years, chaired their retail subcommittee, and been on the National Ethical Investment Advisory Board when it was first set up. My background is as a broker consultant, working in the IFA market. I'm AFPC qualified, and I've been working with advisors since 1989. My aims really in this market have always been the same since I first came across it in the early 90s. Really, the aim of everything I do on this site and in my career over the last 20 years has been to drive forwards SRI through thought leadership, through working with others, and through building tools which can help financial advisors to actually get this information out to your clients. I hope you found this information interesting. I look forward to hearing from you if you have any questions or queries. I welcome any feedback you may wish to offer, as my aim will be to continue developing this site, to adding details and information to the Fund EcoMarket tool, and to helping move this forward over the coming months and years.